Good afternoon, winners. Mike here with Ghost Armour episode 10. Today's episode is called Write It Down. In my hands, I have my journal. Been journaling for the last 3 or 4 years. I found this would benefit. Again, this is one of the tactics that was provided to me from my mentor to start doing, and I'm glad I did. So here we're sitting in my living room on my couch, and this is at the end of the day where I conclude my day. Simply grab a pillow, prop it up, and I begin writing. Initially, how I started this out was just simply writing down 3 simple things that I was blessed with that day, or 3 great things that would happen. I would also write down one of those monumental things to move my life forward, and then usually a quote, either out of the Bible or an inspirational book. I just felt like that was a good start because I didn't really know why to journal, what the purpose was for. We can get into a little bit of that later, but starting off with the blessings. When you're going through life, it's easy to look at just the mundane, things weren't that exciting, or when you're going through a time of adversity, could be days, weeks, months, or years, somewhat seasons of life. It's really, really cool to look back and see that there are still blessings happening throughout the day. I remember the first journal entry I ever made was I was thankful for my mentors. I was thankful that the sun was out in Vancouver, obviously rains a lot here, and I was thankful for my dog. And when you look back and go, wow, those seems pretty simple. Well, today my dog isn't with me, but I can look back then and see that she was with me, and she's such a sweet, sweet memory. It also gives you the opportunity to, as well, when you're going through it, to look back and see that there's still some good happening in your life. There are still so many reasons why we need to be thankful for the things that we have. You just don't have to have the money in the bank and be in extreme health for you to be thankful and for you to be blessed. So that's one of the approaches. The other reason why I turned into journaling, why I like writing things down, it almost becomes therapeutic in a way. It allows you to really let out what's already up in the mind, built up within inside of yourself. Jim Rohn, great business philosopher, always argued that the mind isn't a filing cabinet. Write it down. And so that's what I've learned to do, and that's what I do. So don't pretend, or not even pretend, but act and continue to follow through that you always have to have things stored up. Write it down. Take a piece of paper, post it, write it down. You can get a journal from anywhere. You don't have to spend 40, 50, 60 bucks on one. I started out with a used journal that my wife wasn't really using at that time, just to get notes on paper. The other great thing too is that I've learned from those who have experienced a lot of success in the world. It provides an opportunity to reflect. The words, when written down on paper, act as a mirror, and they give you an opportunity to look at those words and maybe a plan. Also planning. How are you supposed to write things down if you don't have a plan? You got to write it down. So they give you an opportunity to plan, they give you an opportunity to reflect, and they act as a mirror. So if you have some goals out there that you're trying to achieve, something that you want to change in your life, if you're trying to go after something long term, it helps if you can strategically write it down bullet point for bullet point, and you can look at it and go, okay, what do I need to change in my life to make these things happen? Pros and cons about things. Instead of having it stored up in your mind, which it shouldn't be as a filing cabinet, write it down on paper. It becomes clear. Things start to break down a lot more simply, and it just allows a therapeutic response to really happen within your body and within your mind. So I love journaling. I find this helps. I find that the most successful people in the world journal. The first act in a goal being accomplished, Napoleon Hill would say, write it down on paper. So anyways, that's write it down. Take a journal, write it out, write out what you're thankful for, write out your plans, write out your day's end. It just, again, gives an opportunity to reflect. This is Ghost Armour episode number 10. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for following. Open for feedback. Hope that helps.